As Trump refuses to lead America, America has to try and save itself. Has to try and save it itself. Has to try and save itself. Um, the fake president Donald Trump isn't leading America much as its pandemic gets worse. But that's not stopping Walmart, along with Kroger, Kohl's, and city and state leaders and officials from making the tough decisions that the fake president has shirked. Given Trump's approach, if the country is to exit the building disaster without many more thousands dead, it will fall to governors, mayors, college presidents, and school principals, teachers, and grocery store managers to execute plans balancing public health with the need for life to go on. There are growing indications Wednesday that such centers of authority across the country are no longer waiting for cues from any indifferent president whose aggressive opening strategy has been discredited by a tsunami of infections and whose poll numbers are crashing as a result of it. The latest Quinnipiac University poll survey shows Trump trailing presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden by 15 points, a deficit that might help explain the bizarre series of attacks that the president leveled at his rival during Tuesday's news conference and the shakeup in his campaign leadership on Wednesday led by his dumbass son-in-law, Jared Dumbass Kushner. More school districts in Houston and San Francisco, for example, are defying the fake president's demand for all kids to go back to class this fall. Democratic Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signed an executive order to delay opening schools until after Labor Day. Alabama, perhaps the most pro-45 state in the pro-Trump state in the nation, introduced mask-wearing requirements for public places on Wednesday. Montana issued its own recommendation on masks. Massive retail chains like Walmart, Kohl's, and Kroger will require shoppers to wear masks in the upcoming days, confirming an emerging national consensus that face coverings are far from being an infringement of freedom could be a lifesaver. One of the NFL's most storied franchises, the Green Bay Packers, will play the preseason without fans. Even Trump's frequent protector, the Republican Senate Majority Leader Moscow Mitch, broke with the fake president's magical thinking as he stumped through his increasingly afflicted home state of Kentucky. Moscow Mitch said that there were some that hoped that coronavirus would go away. It hasn't. After 5 months and more than 137,000 deaths and some 3.5 million infections, the country is at another turning point in the most severe national challenge since World War II. More and more states and local leaders, after seeing the results of premature openings that ignored scientific advice, appear to be moving toward the painful steps needed to get this virus under control. Those jurisdictions that did succeed in getting the pandemic under control, such as metropolitan areas around Washington, D.C., are now beginning to face yet another test, enforcing social distancing and mask wearing as cases are starting to rise up. The White House response to all this is to deny that it's happening, to politicize grave choices about vital questions of how and when to reopen schools, and to create complete distractions like Trump's meandering mess of a news conference on Tuesday. And it starts at the top. The fake president who has always been in denial. The fake president has always been in denial about the pandemic, but he has laid out no plan for school openings. He has failed to set up the national testing and tracing network that could keep the virus under control, and is doing nothing to stop the effort inside the White House to discredit the government's top infectious disease official, Anthony Fauci. After he was eviscerated in the USA Today op-ed by Peter Navarro, a trade advisor who has no medical expertise, Fauci told The Atlantic, "I cannot figure out in my wildest dreams why they would want to do that. I think they realize now that was not a prudent thing to do because it's only reflecting negativity on them." Fauci has also appeared at a White House coronavirus task force meeting Wednesday, pictures of which were tweeted by the dumbass Vice President Mike Dumbass Pence in a bid to smooth over the flap. But the fake president left the White House before the meeting started and headed for Atlanta, flouting mask-wearing protocols in the airport tarmac and holding an event on a topic that had nothing to do with the crisis, transportation infrastructure. It wouldn't be unusual for a fake president to visit Atlanta during a national medical emergency, given that the city hosts the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, but Trump gave the agency a wide berth. Meanwhile, Trump joined his daughter-wife Ivanka in yet another diversionary controversy, flacking for Goya, a major Hispanic-owned business facing a consumer backlash after its CEO appeared at the White House last week and lavished praise on the fake president. The marketing pitch, which saw Trump pose behind a range of Goya products at the revered Resolute desk in the Oval Office, probably broke executive branch ethic rules. The ethics rules, yeah. But more than anything, it came across as crass and inappropriate a day after 900 more Americans died from the COVID-19 in those Wednesdays and an inexorable toll mounted. Trump's decision to ignore the deepening calamity is doing him no good politically, raising what seems to be a point obvious to everyone but the fake president, that his prospects for November's election are not likely to improve when the COVID-19 emergency becomes more dire day by day. The Quinnipiac University poll showed that Trump only has a 36% approval rating on how he's handled his job. A Wall Street Journal NBC News poll had Biden up 11 points, and the squatter's approval rating is sitting down at 37%. There is no secret as to what works. Stay-at-home and shutdown orders, combined with the social distancing and increase in use of masks, have been shown to peg back the virus in U.S. states such as New York and foreign nations such as Italy, France, and South Korea. Other governments in Hong Kong and Australia, for instance, have taken strenuous steps to tackle new hotspots when they emerge, unlike the fake president out here, who's still pushing for new openings as the disaster gets worse. In the current situation, an average of 60,000 new infections a day arise, and a rising death toll and increased hospitalization across the country is not daunting enough. Things could get much worse. Talk of a second spike in the virus in the fall, but has given way to a realization that America is still in the first wave, likely to crash into a resurgence of the virus and flu season when people go back inside as the weather cools. Fauci said on Wednesday that America opened, and he saw pictures and photos and films of people at bars with no mask, congregating in crowds, and the inevitable happened. Now we're hanging around 60,000 people. That's unattainable. We've got to turn that around, and that's really the issue we've got to address right now, he told The Atlantic. A closely watched model also warned Wednesday that a total of 224,000 Americans could be dead from the virus by November 1st. Dr. Chris Murray of the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington has said that a rise of 14,000 from last week's projection could be put down to fast rising cases countrywide. That increase in our forecast is being driven by the big upsurge in the ones we know about in Florida, Texas, Arizona, California. And Murray told CNN's Don Lemon, there's a longer list of states where deaths are going up, as well as hospitalizations, so that includes Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Nevada, New Mexico, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. Excuse me. Now, if you like the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And then also you can find me in my podcast. Or you could on my podcast Ryan PR. You can find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and I'm trying to blank on the other one. Shit. Yeah, there's Radio Public, Spotify. There's like 4 different apps you can find me on for it. Yeah, so Spotify, Radio Public. Oh yeah, so okay, yeah, you can find me on Spotify, Radio Public, Breaker, and Google Podcasts. And then also but like I said, you can listen on the podcast anytime you want. It's a great thing that I'm starting the podcast because I'm trying to basically make people entertained and basically give them an explanation on what I do and everything. So yeah, so that makes it easy.